My friend Chad and I, we were at an Italian restaurant in Las Vegas, and we sat down and we're looking at our menus, and all of a sudden there's this guy next to us, and we weren't talking to him, we didn't say hi to him or anything, and he just goes, "Hey, you guys are idiots if you don't try the carbonara here." And I was like, I don't know what that is, dude, but I can tell you one thing, I am no idiot. Hey guys, how's it going? A couple days ago, I reached out on Instagram and I said, hey, what should we cook this week? And surprisingly, one of the things that I saw from several people was carbonara. So I thought it would be fun to just put together a quick carbonara recipe. This is one that I've made a few times. I really like it. It's actually from Bon Appetit. It's called BA's Best Carbonara. It's super easy, very few ingredients, a little bit of technique you need, but it comes together really quick. So let's jump into it. All right, so basically all that we need for this recipe is some pasta. I'm gonna be using some bronze cut pasta. Usually you can tell the bronze ones because the outside of it has a really matte finish. It looks kind of bumpy and almost sandpapery. A lot of times when you cook that pasta, it's a little bit more expensive, but you'll find that the sauce of whatever you're making clings to the outside of it way better, where a lot of pastas that have that shiny outside tend to, when you sauce them, the sauce just kind of runs right off of it. So, you know, the shiny pasta is fine for, you know, cooking something for yourself on a Tuesday night, but if you are making something, you want it to be kind of special, it's definitely worth spending a couple extra dollars and getting the bronze pasta that will hold that sauce even better. So basically the only ingredients that we need right now are pancetta. Sometimes traditionally this uses guanciale, which comes from pork's cheek or jowl. I've made it with that before. I honestly don't love the flavor. It's worth trying if you guys can find it. You can find it usually in Italian markets, Italian delis near you, guanciale. Pancetta is essentially bacon that hasn't been smoked. So you could even use bacon for this, but pancetta just has a little bit of a cleaner, more subtle flavor. So you get the saltiness, you get the porkiness, you get the richness, but you don't have that smoke flavor that's usually gonna come with actual bacon. A lot of times at the store you'll find pancetta sometimes in like a package and it's already been cubed. That would be great. We're gonna cube it anyways. I have an Italian market not too far from my house, so I actually went ahead and picked some up. We're gonna cut it into cubes here in a minute and then we're gonna cook it. We also have cheese. You could use Pecorino Romano or you could use Parmesan. I actually have a mix of half and half. Parmesan typically has like a nice like nutty, salty flavor, where the Pecorino Romano can be a little bit more tangy and a little bit more aggressive of a flavor. So I like the idea of combining both. I have half and half. And then we've got 7 egg yolks that have been separated, just the yolks, and then 1 whole egg. And that's basically gonna be the basis of our whole sauce. So we've got pancetta, cheese, eggs, pasta, a little bit of salt and pepper, and we're gonna be ready to go. So we're gonna start out just by cutting our pancetta. This is about 1/4 pound. You can see it basically, you know, if you unrolled it, it's basically just bacon. It just hasn't been smoked and treated the same way, but it usually is round like this if you get the one that's not pre-cut. So we're just gonna cut this into cubes that are about 1/3 inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna just cut this up real quick. All right, we've got our pancetta all cubed up. And now we are going to just cook it a little bit. We're gonna brown it, make it nice and golden, and render out a lot of this fat. And we'll actually use the fat as an ingredient in the sauce just to make it a little more luxurious. So let's go ahead and cook that up. Okay, we can go ahead and put this into a relatively cold pan. It'll help it come up to temperature and get a little bit more time to render out the fat. So let's go ahead. We're gonna take this pancetta, put it in our pan, and we're probably gonna cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes, I would say. So just keep stirring it, and you'll notice when a lot of fat comes out of it, it starts to get really golden and crispy around the edges. That means it's done. Here we go. You can see we're starting to get a little bit of color here. You just wanna keep going, start rendering out all this fat, get it nice and golden. A couple more minutes, we'll probably be about ready. You can see, you know, some of these are just kind of pieces of fat. So they're really gonna render down a lot. And this'll shrink down overall, like how big these pieces are as it renders out, but let's just keep going. All right, looks like we're getting pretty close. As you can see, it's pretty nice and golden. It's getting kind of dark. It's reduced down. You can see all this fat that's come out of it. It's gonna help us make the sauce a little richer. So I think we're ready. We're gonna strain this over a mesh strainer into a bowl so that we can keep this fat. So I've just got a little mesh strainer. I'm sitting it over a mixing bowl. And I'm just gonna pour this in nice and slowly. Okay, and we've got all of our nice pancetta right here. We've got our fat in the bowl, and we're gonna use that in a minute. So over on the stove, I've got a pot of water. Typically you want about a gallon-ish of water. We're going to salt that. Remember that when you make pasta, salting the water is really the only way to get any flavor like into the pasta noodles themselves. So you really want that water to be salty. Some people, you know, they try to, and that's how they salt their water. No, the water should taste like the ocean. You want it to be salty. So you could put like a good, a big pinch should go in there, a big fat. You want some salt in there, all right? So that water's boiling. We're gonna cook our bronze die cut spaghetti to al dente, and then we'll be ready for the next step. All right, the pasta's boiling on the stove right now. It's got a few minutes left. So we're gonna take our pancetta, we're gonna add it to a large bowl, and then we're gonna whisk up our 7 egg yolks and our 1 full egg. Gonna whisk them, whisk them, whisk them. Make sure they're really broken and homogenized, okay? And then we're gonna add those to the bowl with the pancetta. All right, our pasta's cooked, and now this is gonna come together really quickly. So I've got the pasta. When I drained it, I kept about 3/4 of a cup of the pasta cooking liquid. That's a great trick if you don't cook a lot of pasta, that as you cook that pasta in that water, you release so much starch. So to add some of that water to your sauces, you can create this really nice silky texture and help it really cling to those noodles. We're going to add our pasta into our egg mixture. Okay. And we are gonna just start tossing and tossing. I'm gonna try to kind of scoop up all that egg yolk onto the pasta. I'm gonna add a little bit of my pasta cooking liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit of that fat from the guanciale, or the pancetta rather. Okay. And we're gonna keep moving this around because what we want is for this egg yolk to emulsify and create like a really nice sauce, not turn into an omelet, which it can do if you're not careful. So we're gonna keep moving this around. All right, and then I've got our 1/2 cup of Pecorino Romano Parmesan blend is what I did. And we're gonna add it in batches, probably about 3 batches. And we're just gonna keep tossing. Keep tossing. You wanna just try to get that grated cheese to really melt on there. The recipe says to keep about a 1/2 cup of the water. I did a little extra just because if it feels like this sauce is getting a little too tight, we could always add a little bit more water, thin it out, make it a little creamier and saucier, because sometimes it can sort of get kind of thick and tight. Okay, I'm gonna add the rest of my cheese. The bowl that I'm using, it has straight sides and kind of has little corners at the bottom. Not all bowls have that, but I'm really trying to make sure I'm kind of moving this and scooping all the stuff out of those corners so I don't end up with like a puddle. I think I am gonna add just a little bit more water. Okay. Yeah. And then I am going to add some pepper. Guess what? We just made pasta carbonara. That's all it is. As we're working, we wanted to make sure that when we took the pasta off the water, that we got it into this bowl pretty quick, because that heat actually raises the temperature of the eggs and helps to essentially cook the egg yolks. So it's not just plain raw egg yolks. It's not the texture of egg yolks. It's very similar to like an Alfredo-y type creamy sauce. Like you would think if you didn't know how you made this that there was some sort of like cream or something to thicken it, but it's literally just the egg yolks and the pasta water, and we're ready to plate. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just gonna take some of this with my tongs, pull it out, probably make a huge mess, but that's what I'm good at. I'm gonna give it a little twirl. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm gonna try to get a couple extra pieces of the pancetta and just strategically place them on top here. And that's it, pasta carbonara. It's just a few ingredients. You can make lots of substitutions if you need them. It's a really just tasty dish. I remember the first time I ever had it, I'd never heard of it before. My friend Chad and I, we were at an Italian restaurant in Las Vegas, and we sat down and we're looking at our menus, and all of a sudden, there's this guy next to us, and we weren't talking to him, we didn't say hi to him or anything, and he just goes, "Hey, you guys are idiots if you don't try the carbonara here." And I was like, I don't know what that is, dude, but I can tell you one thing, I am no idiot. So we both ordered the carbonara and it changed our life. It was amazing. Now you know how to make it. Super easy carbonara, eggs, pancetta, a little bit of pasta, some cheese. That's all it takes. I hope you guys make it. I hope you enjoy it. If you make it, send a picture. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube. I'd love to see what you're making. I'd love to see that you guys are actually in the kitchen trying some things. And I'd love to get ideas for what you'd like to see us make next. It could be something easy, could be something hard, something that is nostalgic to you. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.